Let me know when we're good to go, Christy.
Are we having a surprise appearance for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Do we have guests for the pledge?
All right.
Uh-oh.
Couple guests?
Zach, please, Zach, maybe?
Oh, there's Darren.
Erin, we're recording and we're on YouTube. You're welcome to start the meeting.
Fantastic. Hello, everyone. Today it is 7:00 p.m. on the 10th of August, 2020, and I call this regular meeting of Chagrin Falls Village Council to order. Tonight, we're going to get kicked off with our Pledge of Allegiance, and joining us for the Pledge of Allegiance, virtually, of course, is Daisy Troop 71359. These are rising second graders at Gurney Elementary School, and they're about to become brownies. They filmed this in their Daisy uniforms. So, Christy, can you do the screen share and kick us off?
I will.
Okay.
Choose this. And
Attention to the flag
The flag.
of the United States of America,
America.
and to the
To the republic,
republic
Stands.
one
one nation,
nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Many thanks to the troop leaders for putting that video together for us. Just a reminder to the public, we will offer an option for public comments at the end of our meeting, and we will let you know when that time comes. Mr. Bloom, could you please do the roll call?
DiBernardo,
Here.
Evans,
Here.
Grube,
Here.
Newell, Rocky,
Here.
Rogoff,
Here.
Wyval,
Here.
Mr. Newell is on vacation this week. Could I move to excuse his absence.
Second.
Motion by Grube, second by Evans. Roll call, please.
DiBernardo,
Aye.
Evans,
Aye.
Grube,
Aye.
Rocky,
Aye.
Rogoff,
Aye.
Wyval,
Aye.
Okay. We have two sets of minutes. First, July 13th. Did everybody get a copy?
Yes.
Any
Yeah.
changes and adjustments?
No.
Seeing none, do we have a motion to approve the minutes from July 13th?
So moved. Second.
Motion by Evans, second by DiBernardo. Roll call, please.
Evans,
Aye.
Grube,
Aye.
Rocky,
Aye.
Rogoff,
Aye.
Wyval,
Aye.
DiBernardo.
Aye.
Okay, and the July 27th minutes, any changes or adjustments to those?
No.
Okay, seeing none, do we have a motion to approve the minutes from July 27th?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Motion by DiBernardo, second by Evans. Roll call, please.
Grube,
Aye.
Rocky,
Aye.
Rogoff,
Aye.
Wyval,
Aye.
DiBernardo,
Aye.
Evans,
Aye.
Report of the mayor.
I have nothing to report tonight.
Okay, then. Report of the finance director.
I have no report tonight either.
Christy, did we have any members of the public who wish to address legislative items, or sorry, Mr. Bloom?
Either one. No, we did not. Nobody's on the agenda tonight.
Okay. In that case, Mr. Markowitz, our legislative docket. Bill, you are on mute.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
We have ordinance 2020-28, which is an ordinance amending chapter 951 of the codified ordinances, amending section 951.01 of the codified ordinances, and adding regulations regarding overnight usage of public property and declaring an emergency. Now, the last draft that you had seen, I had made a change on August 6th and sent it to everybody. You may not have seen it till the 7th. And I'm hoping you'll consider that version tonight. We added two provisions. One was to provide that except as authorized in D, nobody can do overnight camping, to make it clear that overnight camping is allowed at River Run Park. And secondly, I added a provision that anybody seeking a permit from the CAO, that he should act within 2 days after receiving all the information. It just coincidentally happened to be at a seminar on the 6th when we were talking about First Amendment issues. It was a International Municipal Lawyers Association seminar on protests. And there was a bunch of cases from federal courts saying, whenever you're dealing with any kind of permits like this, even though it's not implicating the First Amendment, that you should put something in your codes that gives directives to the administration when they should approve permits. And 2 days seemed to be the max that I saw in all the cases. So I added it.
Ms. Rogoff, do you want to kick this off and then we should do a motion to amend? Or do you want to do the motion to amend first?
Okay, so, yeah, so if everybody looked at that and saw, I think one of the versions that I saw Dale sent out showed the couple of additions in red.
Correct.
So I would move to amend ordinance 2020-28 to include the comments and amendments that the law director put in.
I'll second that. So motion by Rogoff, second by Grube. Roll call, please.
Did anybody have any questions about those changes or anything about the amendment or the ordinance?
No.
No.
Yeah.
Straightforward.
I still, this is still outlawing camping on all village-owned property, correct?
Well,
No.
do we need to amend this before we get into the discussion of it? So we're
think so.
discussing this.
I would vote on the amendment first and then go
Okay.
into the discussion.
Let's deal with the motion to amend first, and then we'll get into discussion on the actual ordinance itself. Okay, Dave, can you do the roll call, please?
Rocky,
Need to unmute.
Rocky,
Aye.
Rogoff,
Aye.
Wyval,
Aye.
DiBernardo,
Aye.
Evans,
Aye.
Grube.
Aye. Okay, Mr. Rocky, you had some thoughts on the ordinance in front of us.
Yeah, so is this still banning camping on all village-owned properties, or is this just in the parks?
It bans it on all properties other than Riverside Park.
River Run.
River Run Park.
River Run, oh my
So
God.
my question is that we have in the past allowed the J.C.'s, the carnival workers to stay up at like the wellhead and one of the wellheads. And so it's going to ban that. And we won't be able to do that because we've only said River Run Park.
Nancy,
So-
you had some thoughts on
Oh,
this.
go ahead.
I guess I guess I haven't directly asked the law director this question, but it's been my opinion that an event such as Blossom and Art by the Falls, where there may have been special permission and to allow people to sleep overnight in various places, including Riverside Park. There's people that stay there all night long for security, if nothing else. And so I feel that those things can be included in the permit for those kinds of events. And those events do take a special permit.
Right, well, the language before never allowed that to occur. And the changes that we made here for the first time would allow overnight camping at River Run. The Parks Commission may have by policy allowed that to occur, but we never had legislation that allowed it. If you want to allow later than 11 p.m. at Riverside Park for special events, you could, but then the question becomes, well, if you allow them to do it, then why are you not permitting others who may want to stay till 4 a.m. or want to stay there for their own, reasons? I would prefer that you stay with a uniform rule, and the way it's written, that specific changes can be permitted where, for example, like the Cemetery Commission has authority to make rules. They can allow different hours, but otherwise, you're stuck with the language that nobody uses any of those facilities after 11 p.m. other than at River Run. Now, one other point I would make is when we first started talking about this, we thought that we would revisit this in the beginning of 2021. And that's still my expectation.
Yeah, I don't think we even have to wait till the beginning of 21. I think we've discussed revisiting it, once we get something in place to deal with the short-term issue of dealing with it this fall.
Dale, I think, just so I understand, and I think I know the answer to this question, the River Run Park camping is permit only, right? So it still has to be,
Correct.
follow
Right.
all the rules that we've expressed in the permit. Okay.
Yeah, only one time. They have to have insurance. They have to have proper facilities, toilet facilities, and they have to have it approved by the fire marshal for any cookout or whatever they're doing.
And the chief and I talked, or Chief Dasick and I talked, there wasn't really a need to do a parking plan for this type of permit because it's covered
Pardon me?
during the normal park use conversations. That's why it's going through the fire marshal and there's no equivalent sort of thing about overnight cars. I mean, personally, where I'm at is I feel like this, I think obviously some additional work in the larger scope should be looked at, but for where we're at, I feel like this allows the types of events the community is used to. And I think it provides some sort of expectation between the user and the village of providing toilet facilities, making sure the cooking plans are approved by the fire marshal, and then there's insurance. So it feels pretty balanced between the two interests and allowing access, but also making sure the liability elements are thought through.
I think that we're handcuffing when it comes to just allowing it in River Run Park, though. I mean, I think that that's kind of going to handcuff us. Basically, we're writing an ordinance that only allows you're going to allow the Boy Scouts to do whatever they want in River Run Park, but you're going to you're excluding the JC's Blossom event and privileges that you've previously granted to them by only writing in this River Run Park stuff.
So how would you word it differently then?
So, but here's the thing. I don't recall ever actually allowing Blossom by council vote or anything to have people sleeping in the park or sleeping in other parks. If they did, then it was just by understanding of what Blossom was. I don't recall ever actually hearing council vote to allow Blossom specifically to spend the night in Riverside Park. It was just a general, they come in and say.
Hold on, guys, one at a time here. Nancy, finish your thought, and then Andrew, you can respond.
The JCs would say, we're doing Blossom, blah, blah, blah. And, it was just a general conversation and council would approve it year after year. Again, I don't, there was never any special permit or any special recognition of them spending the night any place in the village, overnight at Riverside or any other village-owned property. So I don't think that this changes anything.
Nancy, that's my recollection too, that no permission was ever requested to sleep there. And I really wasn't aware of anybody doing any overnight camping there.
They've been in Bainbridge, but then Bainbridge changed the rules and said you can't camp or you can't have your people housed where you're planning to.
No,
Yeah.
it was the Armory. It was due to restrictions at the Armory facility.
I thought there was an issue with with Snavely property as well, because they were going to put things there.
They never did go to the Snavely property.
Well,
They tried to,
Sorry,
but
my apologies to Bainbridge.
no, they never went to Snavely. We did look into that, and the zoning did not allow it. So they were not allowed to be there. So they did try to go, or they were at the Armory on East Washington Street for many years. And then due to military activities, they weren't allowed. And that's when the village worked with them probably 4 or 5 years ago to find a spot where we could put them in the village.
So Dale, can we still do that type of relationship based on the language that is before us today, or are hands going to be overly tied when it comes to Blossom?
You would have to change the ordinance.
In the ordinance that's in front of us now, isn't it possible that they could pull a permit and camp at River Run Park? Am I not understanding that?
They could.
Yes.
They could, but I don't necessarily think that you want to put all the carnival workers right
No,
out.
I live probably closer than anyone here to River Run Park. And so I'm just stating what looks on the ordinance is a loophole or a place for them to
Right.
potentially camp.
Angie?
Yeah, if that's how I'm seeing it too. Like if they used to be up at the Armory, why can't they just go to River Run? It's not like they need to be right in Riverside. So I guess maybe I'm not understanding.
It's not Riverside Park that they're camping in. They stayed up at the well field. Not in Riverside Park, not in any of the parks. So that's the thing. We're outlawing the use of any village-owned property.
Except River Run.
Except for River Run. And if you guys are okay with them parking their campers in River Run Park, that's fine. I just, you're not, it was, at the well field, they're out of the way and kind of back away from the public eye. So
We've also had them up at the cemetery, at the service area near the cemetery.
Maintenance building.
The maintenance building, yeah, thank you.
Is there a reason for us to look at a more hidden area that we own and put that into this ordinance? I mean, does Art by the Falls also have this issue with all their artists and their artist vehicles, or is that something that we're going to have to address for both of these events? And maybe we should designate a piece of land and say this will be something we can use, and it's again by permit.
But the problem, but the problem with doing that, if you can't just allow Blossom people and Art by the Falls people. If you allow that, I mean, like we're doing in River Run Park, if you allow that somewhere else, then you have to allow other people to avail themselves of whatever regulations we put in. I mean, I don't think that we can have a permit.
But aren't we doing that with River Run right now anyway?
No.
Why?
Well, if we're saying there's a permit for River Run.
Right.
But anybody can get it.
Anybody can get it. I mean, we are saying that anybody can get it. So if we want to do that with the well field, do you want to let anybody have a permit to camp there overnight? I mean, that's the question.
That's what I'm asking as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Guys, could I interject something? I think implicit in all of this is the fact that there has to be a reason that they want to camp on the park property, wherever that may be, River Run, Wellfield, wherever. And it would be that we would look to their purpose. I mean, I couldn't decide I wanted to lay out and watch the meteor shower this week and pull a permit to pitch a tent in River Run Park. I mean, that wouldn't be what I think the intent of what we're talking about is. I think you got to have a reason. That reason has to be related to a village function in order to get that permit, regardless of the designated spots. In the past, Nancy, the Art in the Park had used Cleveland Street Armory for a parking spot, and I assume there was some camping going on as well. And so, I think that's what you need to focus on is the reason and the justification that the permit is requested for the use of the park, and look at that to limit some of the problems. Other than that, I mean, I don't have a problem.
We have to be content neutral.
Right.
Pardon me?
We have to be content neutral in any sort of regulations. It can't be just about the village, and we can't control the type of, if people wanted to camp out to, I don't know, worship the moon or something, that's not something we could outlaw because it didn't have to do with the village.
I've heard Dale's talk about is that we could put restrictions on that. And that's all I'm suggesting is that you do want to put some restrictions on when and who can use the park as a kind of an exception to the no overnight camping rule.
You can't find out what the reason is. And the Boy Scouts, by the way, is no more connected to the village than might be somebody who wants to celebrate the moon. So that's where we get into First Amendment problems when we start deciding who can and who can't. you have to make it available to anybody who can meet that criteria. And that criteria is not based on their rationale or all it's based on is the safety of using the facilities.
What
So
if,
you're saying, Dale, just to be clear, if I provided a porta potty and I provided insurance, I could apply for a permit to use River Run Park to watch the meteorite shower and overnight camp? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, then I think, the hell with the JCs. I think we got to just decide that we're not going to let anybody camp in the village grounds, period.
Darren, you had a thought in there.
yeah, I did. I just wondered if we couldn't eliminate some of this in the language of the permit, keep it out of, codified language, and just if there are restrictions that you want to put in there for a particular kind of camper, you can't put that language just in the permit?
No, that's where you're giving the CAO too much discretion. That really gets us into trouble
Okay.
with the courts, yeah. It's basically either you have totally content neutral criteria and you have criteria, or you don't have any use allowed. We can say that nobody can sleep in the parks overnight. We're allowed to do that. But if we then start saying, well, we'll just let Rob decide who gets a permit when,
Right, yeah,
that's the biggest problem we would run into.
understood.
Yeah.
So, this came up because people were were camping in Triangle Park, and I understand on the falls viewing areas. So,
And also in Riverside Park.
Riverside,
yeah. So, if we could just pass this tonight, and then talk about, whether we want to allow various activities on other properties of the village for Blossom, for Art by the Falls, for other kinds of uses, and do that, over the next couple months. But at least if we got this taken care of, we would be able to, we'd give the police department the authority to throw people out of Riverside Park and the other parks after 11 o'clock at night. And I thought, and the Falls viewing area, which I think is kind of an odd place to camp, but.
And there's some safety issues with that one, especially.
Yeah. So
And what-
I think if we could pass this, and we could debate a lot of these other areas, and we could look at them one at a time in the future, next meeting if you wanted to.
If you find after you pass this that it's overburdening the park and it's creating a nuisance in the area, then we could say, okay, we're banning all overnight use of any of the parks.
Yeah.
On the other hand, maybe you'll say in the future that, that there could be limited use of some other village-owned property, like off of Cleveland Street or something, to allow for additional, overnight use if needed for anybody who wants to use those properties.
Can we limit, if we were to include something like property off Cleveland Street, for example, can we tie it to people who have a permit allowing them exclusive use for multiple days of Riverside Park? Or is that too?
Well, you could say that the Cleveland Street property could be used for those who have permits for more than one day's use of the park where they're going to need overnight sleeping. You could do that. But I would say at the same time, if somebody came to you and said, okay, nobody's using that particular facility because they're not using Riverside Park for an event, and you allow the sleeping there, why won't you let me sleep? So you might get that kind of an argument. I don't know that somebody could, they wouldn't be successful litigating that, but do you want to open the door to that argument?
Right.
Dale, what about limiting some of the park use to time of the year, months of the year? Like possibly, only for June, July, and August maybe, or, by month, so that, because I could see people deciding they wanted to camp in January or February too, who knows? But would that be something that we could do?
It probably is, but if somebody wanted to camp out in February, and there's snow on the ground, what's the difference between that and in the summer when it's warm out?
I
How
don't
does
know.
that-
I don't know.
How does that affect the village more detrimentally?
It was just a thought.
Yeah,
Okay.
they might want to go slip sliding or something on the snow. I don't know.
I'm just saying, if we pass this, come Memorial Day, expect to see campers parked in River Run Park.
Only
Right.
if we grant permission.
But Andrew, at some point, we also have to recognize that we're having this issue in the downtown parks right now, which we also have to balance. So,
So I'm just
I mean,
saying,
I guess at some point there's going to have to, and I'm not saying this has to be a permanent give and take, but at the moment, like, I feel like you were among the ones who were wanting us to pass something immediately. And it's been
Yeah,
hard to get to
I'm
this
making my
point.
cautions heard, right? So we're gonna have to revisit this.
Yeah, I'd
I
rather
think we've
that
all said that.
and saying, I'd rather that than like, you know, we're not dismissing the needs of Blossom, which this community has supported by doing this. We're just trying to find some balance here so we can continue to rehome this. I mean, this is a really complex issue. I think it's going to take some time to like get into a final product. Those are my thoughts though. I don't know. Any
Well,
other thoughts on this?
we have a final product. We just might have experiences which would change what we want to do.
That's a much more eloquent way to say it. Jan, are you good with this? Are you good with
Yeah,
this?
I'm fine.
Okay, any thoughts or questions?
I think it would be wise to pass it now and then revisit it in the areas that we think there may be difficulties.
Yeah, agree. Any other thoughts? Angie, I don't know, I haven't heard your voice.
I was muted for a while. Okay.
No, it seems like we're pivoting around one particular week of the year, one weekend of the year. So we've got some time. That's not going to change.
Right.
We just know we have to get active before that. But yeah, I'm in agreement with the rest of you guys.
I would agree with you, Darren.
Let's hope we have it next year.
I know.
Go away, COVID. Okay. Dale, can I ask you one quick question?
Sure.
Section 2,
Section
G, section 2G.
Yes.
It says, so just to catch everybody up, it says in no event shall a park permit for extended hours be authorized for Riverside, Conservation Land, Triangle, Bell Street, Franklin, Falls Viewing 1 and 2, Grove Hill Park. And then it says in parentheses, or by the officially designated name that is hereafter determined by the city council.
Village.
That relates to Grove Hill Park.
Right, but we're a
Oh, the
village.
city
Village
council.
council.
Yeah,
Oh.
I didn't catch that either.
I know why I did that. I was doing something for the city of Aurora.
Okay.
Oh, darn them and their bigger population.
Exactly.
Will I drive everybody nuts if I fix that to village? Can I do that?
No.
Sure.
Amend.
I can do it as we're talking also.
Okay, I motion to amend in section 2G, the word city to village.
Second.
I have motion by Group, second by Rogoff. Roll call, please.
Rogoff,
Yes.
Wyval,
Yes.
DiBernardo,
Aye.
Evans.
Aye.
Grube,
Aye.
Rocky,
Aye.
Thank you, guys. I'm sorry.
Good catch.
Otherwise, I like that we were able to find a way to also uphold specific rules. So if for some reason we had, I mean, we do have specific rules for the cemetery, which outlines those hours. And if we had them for some other type of designated park, then I would, I feel like this is I like that we had, those rules take precedence.
I'm going to forward the revision to everybody right now.
Okay.
There are advantages to working from home on Zoom.
True.
Okay, is there any more discussion on this one, guys?
No.
I'm seeing none. So
Okay,
does any,
I move to approve ordinance 2020-28 as amended and with 2 amendments.
do we need
Second.
to waive the rules first?
No, it's the third reading, right? Or do we need to because it's amended?
Still an emergency though,
Oh, it's still emergency because, okay.
because that would make it effective.
Well, no, you
immediately.
need 2/3 for the emergency, but if it's already had, it's
It's
three
had
readings.
readings, but it's written as an
Okay.
emergency.
Isn't this the third reading?
Yeah, but you don't need to suspend the rules if it's a third reading.
Right,
Even though it's written as an emergency.
right.
Right.
Okay.
You just need to pass it by 2/3.
Isn't this fun parliamentary procedure, everyone? Okay, we have a motion by Rogoff, second by DiBernardo. Roll call, please.
Wyval,
Aye.
DiBernardo,
Aye.
Evans,
Aye.
Grube,
Aye.
Rocky,
Abstain.
Rogoff,
Aye.
Okay, that passes. Mr. Markowitz, next item.
Okay, next item is ordinance number 2020-33. And that is an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Chagrin Valley Paving, Inc. for the 2020 road program and declaring an emergency.
Has to be
And-
amended, correct?
Yes, so,
Yes,
you
well,
wanna finish?
somebody's got a motion.
okay, Mrs. Evans?
I would like to mention that both our engineer, Tim Lannon, and our chief executive officer did some research at looking at this vendor as well as a vendor that bid $2,000 more. And they determined that Burton Scott would be the better vendor for this project. And so I would like to make the amendment to change it instead of Chagrin Valley Paving to Burton Scott.
Okay.
We need to
Motion-
also amend the dollar amount or no?
Yes.
Yes.
So
Jan,
you'd add 2,000.
as I understand it, you would be saying that in the determination of council, they believe that the lowest and best bid, based on the recommendations from the village engineer and the chief administrative officer, is Burton Scott Contractors LLC, not Chagrin Valley Paving.
That is correct.
Okay, so we have a motion by Evans,
Second.
second by DiBernardo. Roll call, please.
DiBernardo,
Aye.
Evans,
Aye.
Grube,
Aye.
Rocky,
Aye.
Rogoff,
Aye.
Wyval,
Aye.
And then any more discussion on this? This is doing, what is it, Bradley, Maple Lane?
Columbus.
Columbus.
Bellevue.
Bellevue,
And some
Bellevue
large
and
area
Columbus.
patching.
and some large patching. Okay.
Yeah, I would say I think we're all in agreement. It sounds like at least initially, but I have a business in Solon and I believe that's the contractor that really did a amazingly bad job in the city of Solon, right by the kind of where the Chick-fil-A is and Cruzy Drive, that upset an awful lot of merchants in Solon and business owners. So just from that perspective, I think you'd find there's a village resident who has a business there in Solon too, who would say the exact same thing. It's just a bad job.
So this contract total is worth $292,000, $984. I can't read numbers. I'm sorry, $292,984. And this comes in under budget still, correct?
Yes. Yes, it does.
Just wanted to throw that all out there.
Are there any other questions?
Anyone? I don't see any. Do I have a-
Motion to adopt?
Second.
you need to suspend.
Do I have to do a motion to suspend first?
You do.
Probably. Yeah. Second reading.
Motion to suspend?
Second.
I move to suspend.
Okay, I have a motion to suspend by Evans, second by Wyville. Roll call, please.
Evans,
Aye.
Grube,
Aye.
Rocky,
Aye.
Rogoff,
Aye.
Wyval,
Aye.
DiBernardo,
Aye.
Motion to adopt?
Second.
Second.
I have a motion to adopt by Evans, second by DiBernardo. Roll call, please.
Grube,
Aye.
Rocky,
Aye.
Rogoff,
Aye.
Wyval,
Aye.
DiBernardo,
Aye.
Evans.
Aye. Thank you, everyone.
I'll send you the ordinance, and Tim Lannon sent the contract changes that would change it to Burton Scott, and I'll forward that to you as well.
What
All
do we
right, thank you.
Tim, I should have asked a second ago, what do we look at for an expected start time date?
Relatively quickly. Contracts can take 2 to 4 weeks to get executed, insurance documents, things like that. But I know the contractor is ready to go with the project. So pretty quickly, 2 or 3 weeks, I would say.
Thank you. Okay. Council committee reports. Administration and compensation. Mr.
Nothing
Weibel.
to report this evening.
Arts Commission, Ms. DiBernardo.
Yeah, just briefly, the Valley Arts Center has received a grant to explore a community art project by a textile artist that lives in Newberry, and they would like to investigate putting it in somewhere within Chagrin Falls. So we'll be holding an Arts Commission meeting to look at the proposal and see what their options may be. So I invite you guys to all tune in and see what it's an interesting project that involves people doing small bits of crochet or yarn in their homes over the winter, and then they get woven together into a giant piece, which is kind of an interesting comment on the times we're living in when everyone's stuck in their homes. So, and it would be for next year.
Awesome. I love community art.
They brought that to the Parks Commission.
They did, and we'll have it in the Arts Commission again with some changes. There are definitely changes that have come through it. So please come listen and and weigh in. Nancy? It hasn't been scheduled yet. I'll send out an email to everyone in council so you can tune in. It'll be Zoom. It'll be a Zoom meeting with all the arts groups.
Okay.
Fantastic. Thank you. Board of Zoning Appeals, Mr. Rocky.
We have a meeting scheduled for next Tuesday, the 18th.
Good times. The Cemetery Commission is myself, and we meet on Wednesday at the cemetery. Communications.
No report tonight.
Facilities and Services. Mrs. Rogoff.
Tonight's legislation is all.
Okay. Finance Committee, we will meet before the next council meeting. We will do a walkthrough of the capital budget, and we will have a better, we should have a good idea of where we're going to come in on our, at the beginning of our tax return numbers. So we've sort of been on hold with the delay in tax filing. Parking Commission is Mr. Newell. Parks Commission, Ms. Rogoff.
Okay, so the Parks Commission met last week and had a couple proposals from people. One is from, let's see, a chamber music group that's, I think it's based at Gilmore. And they would like to have a concert in the park sometime in October. I don't think the date is real certain. They were talking about the weekend before the film festival. They would observe also social distancing requirements for themselves and for their guests. And there's no actual setup. Each one of the chamber, the musicians would bring their own chair with them, and people would have to bring their own chairs or sit on the ground. The Parks Commission recommended that council approve this concert.
Okay, so you're asking us to approve it. They don't have a date quite yet.
Do we need a date to approve it? Or
well, the date, I'm pretty sure the date that they settled on was the weekend before the film festival on a Sunday.
Okay. And then Dale, would we want to approve this conditional upon them complying with all Board of Health guidelines, given the fact that there's a pandemic?
Yeah.
So that
right.
It's subject to any orders from any applicable governmental agency, because there could be something from the Department of Health or the governor that doesn't allow us to permit it.
Okay, does that need to be in the motion? Or
can we say mandates and recommendations?
It's up to you. You certainly can.
I think we should go with mandates and recommendations.
Why do you want to extend it to recommendations?
Because I mean, if we get into it and we say, and there's a recommendation, but there's not a mandate, you can be pretty sure within 2-3 weeks it's going to be a mandate. And I mean, if we're going to allow them to have an event in the park, we should make sure they're doing the best they possibly can do to keep everybody safe.
Right.
I
and
agree.
I think they would have to comply with whatever rules and mandates, regulations, suggestions, whatever they are on that date. So, whatever those mandates are on the date of the concert could be different from what they are today.
True. Can I ask a question of either Dale or Frank? I don't know who would have this answer about our current mandates about public gatherings. The question is, the way I read it, it says you cannot have gatherings of more than 50 people in enclosed outdoor spaces or contained outdoor spaces, but it also recommends no more than 10. Is that correct? Is it a recommendation for 10 and a mandate for 50? And is it contained outdoor spaces or open?
I'll let Frank take that one.
Okay, Frank logged off. No, there he is. Okay.
If it's a funeral or a wedding, you're good.
You're free, right? Funerals and weddings are not regulated. That I know.
What about chamber music?
So this is so at least the mandate I read said contained outdoor spaces, but it also applied to parades and festivals. So I'm just confused by what they're talking about.
You go into the open air. So if you were in a like shelter house, that's kind of contained.
Right.
Seating's contained there. And I know, like, for example, they had yoga in the park. They had it all taped off.
Right.
They had squares. You can do that.
Right. That's allowed. Okay. Good.
What I've read.
Okay.
I don't know what this concert's going to end up doing. I don't think, if it was me, I'm not going to sit all the way in the back to listen by the library if they're playing up front.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So it's going to be a tough one with the concert for sure, because you want to listen.
Okay.
I really don't have a good answer for you. I had a conversation with Aaron about this. It is extremely confusing.
Right.
On different events, and the numbers are different. I sent her some stuff to read, so it's just 10 is 10. It's just the way it is.
Is 10 the recommendation or is 10 the mandate?
Well, 10 is the recommendation. The government never mandated it.
Right. Okay.
So if that was all the way back in early May, I believe.
Right. I think, yeah.
And that has not changed.
Right. Okay, so that's why I asked the question about the recommendations versus mandates. And then this is like getting legal, and it's confusing, at this point, because people are going to want to use our parks for things as we go on with this. So.
Yeah, I'm still getting requests for events. Amber just forwarded me an email about the turkey trot.
Right.
Well, I have to make a decision about our clam bake. There's 68 clam bake in a row on our haunted fire station. So we'll be discussing that soon. And if I have to answer today, they're canceled.
Right.
So,
okay.
And I don't want to beat up the merchants either for donations for the clam bake.
Sure.
So
another thing I'd add, Angie, to this mix is we have to decide what we're going to do regarding the garage sale, the village-wide garage sale in September. Right. I haven't made up a recommendation. I made up my mind for recommendation on that yet. I'm waiting to see what the numbers look like as we get closer to that.
Okay.
But that's going to be probably the most immediate issue we have to wrestle with.
September 26th, because it's a village sanctioned event.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
So, yeah, and the concern I had about the concert is that it I think that the chamber orchestra would want to draw a lot of people. And that's the issue that I had with it, is that it invites a lot of people to come and stand around and watch. So unlike yoga, which, the class is there, people are spaced out, and maybe there's an occasional somebody watching the class, but the idea of the concert is to draw a crowd. And I think that's probably not recommended. or something that we may or may not want to do is draw a crowd.
I guess I just would be more comfortable knowing like what exactly the parameters are that we're going to use for deciding on different events, because different, and that's, I guess, what I'm uncomfortable with is I think we're just going to keep getting requests, and obviously I'd love to be able to do this. I just want to know that we're doing what's legal and that we phrase all these approvals correctly. So I like your idea, Aaron, to stipulate that that they have to follow current recommendations, but I would like to make sure we get that correct. That's, and it's hard since we don't understand exactly what the current recommendations mean.
Right, because, because this is, as a concert, so that's one type of event, and there are two others that came to council. One of them is a bar class, which is more like a yoga class. And then the other one is something entirely different at all. So, but the concert concept, I could see other people wanting to come and do a small concert.
Right, I think they're doing them in Solon. They're doing concerts in Solon outdoors now, right? And they're doing them a lot of places. And now they're also the outdoor movies. Oh, there's a lot. I just think we're going to see a lot of this. So I think we need to figure it out, like what we're going to do.
Right.
Anyway.
Obviously, having something outdoor is the key.
Right.
Exactly. If you have large enough space to spread everybody out, that's also key.
Right.
And obviously, another issue is you approve today, we all know it could change tomorrow.
Right. Exactly.
Or 3 months from now. So we're getting into the flu season. I even hate to even talk about.
Yeah.
Frank, that's where I think Aaron's suggestion is to make this subject to the rules that exist at the time of the concert. So if we gave permission now, for example, and the governor was to mandate no public outdoor gatherings, then that would be automatically precluded, or if we put a cap on it. So I think her suggestion was a good one.
Right.
So, here's what I picked. So I listened to a little bit of that Parks meeting, and they did say they were planning on providing 10-foot squares to allow for 2 people. They were asking for people to only have 2 people per square, for families to take multiple squares. They've done, one of the organizers has also been doing events in Asia, and she was willing to do temperature checks at the entrance. And she seemed to be willing to go above and beyond, more so than I've seen, in other places, or I haven't left my house except to come here. So,
I agree. I saw the same thing. I saw the same meeting and agree that they seemed well aware of the issues and that they were trying to find a way to, within current health guidelines, provide public art or, a community concert. So,
yeah.
And I guess my other concern is, like, if we're going to say no to, we just talked about our responsibility to be content neutral when approving events for a park. So if we say no to this, are we then actually just going to be banning all events in parks? Is that appropriate to sit? I don't like pandemics, so.
Vote no, COVID.
I just feel like these organizers were willing to do the appropriate work required for a concert in a pandemic.
So
well, if it helps you, I just read through every order since May 20.
You didn't.
Speed reading, okay.
And it's still not clear because it talks about, anything more than 10 people is a mass gathering. But as I understood it, if you had an outdoor event and people could maintain 6-foot distancing and they wore facial coverings, then you could do it. And there was no limit for like an outdoor concert on how many you could have if you could meet the social distancing, but it's far from clear.
Okay.
That was my understanding too, Dale.
So I feel like we need to round the corner and make a decision here.
So can I make a motion that we, I know, shocking. Can I make a motion that we approve the use of the park for the chamber music concert, provided that they meet all current mandates and recommendations of the state of Ohio and the Cuyahoga County Board of Health?
Second.
Okay. Motion by DiBernardo, second by Rocky. Roll call, please.
Rocky?
Aye.
Rogoff?
Aye.
Wyval?
Aye.
DiBernardo?
Aye.
Evans?
She's muted. You're
Huh?
muted, Ann. Jan,
You're still muted.
there you go.
I guess I'm not so sure I want to vote on it tonight.
Group,
Aye. Okay, Ms. Rogoff, next event?
Okay, so the next event is this company called Bar 3. And I guess it's in Solon. The company's in Solon. I talked with the lady today. We didn't vote on it in the parks meeting because to me, I mean, I've taken bar classes and they use a bar. So I wasn't sure if that was going to be part of it, if they were going to be hauling in a bunch of equipment. So I talked to her today and she said, no, she's been doing outdoor classes in Solon behind where her studio is, and that the classes don't include any equipment. So it would be very similar in format to the yoga class. And she said she'd have a cap on the number of students at 25, and they'd be spread out like the yoga class is. And she'd like to do it either on Sunday morning or an afternoon during the week. I think her preference was Sunday morning.
Okay. Thoughts, my friends?
I feel like if we're allowing the yoga classes, we can't turn down another version of exercise class if they meet all the requirements that we're allowing for yoga in the park. And I guess we just went through this with the chamber music. So I feel like we have the same concerns, you got to meet all the health requirements, but that's where I'm at. I would allow it under the same rules.
What park?
And I did speak with her today, and she's, definitely very, very aware of the rules, very cautious, and would certainly abide by them.
What park?
Riverside Park.
Just so I understand the process, who's there when these groups set up? Is that Rob or is that Amber? Who?
They're just nobody, right? Are they?
So what if they don't do it right? What if they're not 6 feet apart? What if they're?
Does that fall on the police?
I don't know.
No, the enforcement, that I do know. The enforcement of this all falls on the County Board of Health.
Okay.
We don't have any enforcement.
So somebody could call the health department.
Yep. And in 2 days when they get out here.
And could we rescind their use of the park if they broke the rules? Like basically if they were reported, we could say you're no longer allowed to use the park. If
we could.
Okay.
Yeah, because again, you would, any motion that was made would be,
contingent on,
subject to all the rules that are in effect at the time.
Right.
The time of the event. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like if we're allowing yoga, we need to allow this. I mean, neither of them actually have their businesses within the village. So it's, in that sense, they're kind of the same.
Right.
Okay.
We need a motion. Do you want me to do it again? Okay.
Okay,
I move that we approve the use of Riverside Park for Bar 3 to do outdoor bar classes on Sunday mornings, provided that they follow all regulations, all current mandates and recommendations of the state of Ohio and the Cuyahoga County Board of Health.
Second.
Okay, we're good.
Okay, motion by DiBernardo, second by Wyville. Roll call, please.
Rogoff,
Aye.
Wyville,
Aye.
DiBernardo,
Aye.
Evans,
Aye.
Group,
Aye.
Rocky,
Aye.
Okay, Ms. Rogoff, I think you had one more you said.
So the third thing is, let's see, what is she calling it? A reading walk.
Story walk.
Story walks.
Sorry. Story walk. It's a story walk. And so this was proposed by the librarian at the Chagrin branch of the library. And what this is apparently is it takes a book and probably a children's book, maybe a picture book, maybe words, I'm not sure, and tears the book apart, laminates each page and puts each page on a stick and puts the stick in the ground. And she wants to have it in the park, these sticks in the park along the pathway, so that I guess you would be walking and stopping and reading the first page and then walk along, read the next page, and so on and so forth. So I honestly can't remember if the Parks Commission voted on it or not. I personally have a concern about this because to me, this is a sign, you know, a piece of paper with words on it or a picture on a stick is a sign. And I know you're laughing, Erin, but
I know. Sorry.
To me it is. And so if you start doing this, you're putting signs in the park and doing something that we would then have to let anybody do. It wouldn't just be the library. You'd have to let anybody do what she's proposing, which what she's proposing is cute. And, you know, you walk along with a, you know, presumably a younger child. I mean, I don't think this is like War and Peace or anything spread out across the park.
That'd be a lot of parkland. We could do it on the Appalachian Trail, maybe.
But I guess, the concern I have is that to me, it's you know, when you look at it from a different perspective, it's a sign, and signs aren't permitted in the park, for one thing. And if you did permit this, then you'd have to permit other people, you know, you'd have to allow me to put War and Peace on sticks and run it through the park, or some other book or some.
So I had two thoughts on this, but Erin, I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, so I'm really excited about this idea. I think the one in orange is fantastic. I think it's a nice, way, to, especially with reluctant readers and very physically active children, to like walk and do this book. I think it's pretty passive in terms of how much it's going to impact the parkscape. And I think the fact that this is portable, I appreciate the fact that Ms. Malmquist wanted to do it both in Riverside and River Run. And I know she's also reached out to the merchants, and she's looking at doing one in store windows as well. The idea of movement and being outside while you're reading a book, I gotta tell you, like, I'm suffocating with 3 little kids, like 10 under at home. Like, it's rough times. Like, getting them to open a book is not easy. So just the idea of moving and being able to do some of this, it feels like a nice literary option. And I think when we can bring people in a passive way to the community, we don't have to worry about taping off squares for spacing. It makes life feel a little bit more normal. So I'm a big fan of this. I think it's removable, it's non-permanent. And I would suggest if we did it, we say, you know, we give them a window in which we would do it, not like a forever thing.
And at least it's a business or a nonprofit in Chagrin Falls, and it's not a business in Solon.
Right.
So.
Or South Russell.
Observation.
So Erin, sounds like
but can we do that? Can we say it can only be a nonprofit in Chagrin?
I don't think so. I don't think we can do that with the use of the parks, can we? We can't limit it to only.
I agree with Nancy though. It's a fine line between this, you know, being, you know, letting you put up a children's book to it being, you know, you got, you know, political signs down on every village owned property. Like it's a fine line. A sign is a sign. It's a poster. I mean, I understand like this is fun and you get outside and do it, but it is a fine line between, you know, allowing this and you're going to have to allow anybody to put a sign up.
Can we limit it to a certain time frame? So it would be only for a week?
Dale, is a book a sign? I want to come back to that question on time limit. Yes, Jan. But Dale, first, is a book a sign?
You mean a page from a book? Is that a sign?
Yes.
I believe so.
It's a form of media expression, so it falls in the same category as a sign.
Do we have any rules on public or on temporary installations, like for art or things like that?
Temporary art installation. That's a good idea.
We do have a public art policy. I don't remember exactly what it says, but we have one.
Because that might help us with limiting time and scope. I don't know if that is something that we could look at or the parks could look at.
I love this being a temporary art installation.
But aren't we already allowing media expression by allowing the chamber and the high school sports and athletics to put signs in Triangle Park? So hasn't that like Band-Aid already been ripped off at a level?
Yeah, it's just like if the Republican Party or Democratic Party said, we want to use Riverside Park, And when they have their event, they put up their candidates, signs around their area where they're gathering. It's the same thing. It's temporary, and we don't ban it.
Yeah, but
Well,
it's temporary to the event. So if that event
Right.
went from 1 o'clock to 5 o'clock, they'd be up and then they'd be down.
So
Right.
let's
So-
take Blossom
if
for
the-
another
But if the,
example.
I mean,
go ahead.
I don't think she's proposing this as an event per se. It seemed to me that she was proposing it as, putting these pages on the sticks in the ground and leaving them there for some period of time, extending over several days.
So
like a week or two, I think was what she had
But
told
it's
me.
still,
She makes that's what to me makes it more of a sign than an event. And again, it seems to me that if you do allow this, then you have to allow somebody else to do the same thing, and you can't look at the content of the book or of the piece of paper that they put on the stick in the park.
right.
You can't read
So-
the sign and say I don't like what this one says, but this one says it's okay. You can't
So
do that.
if the library's going to do it, to me, if they're doing it for a week or two, they've got to be out there actively engaged in that event every day, or else
I agree.
the signs should come down and then you put them back up
Yeah, they're not
the
going to
next
be.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, it's meant to be more passive than that.
I believe Catherine's comment was that they would do one book for about a month or so and then switch to another book. I remember that comment from the Parks meeting.
Right, but she's planning to just leave it there. She's not gonna, nobody's gonna be in attendance at these
Right.
stakes. Yeah, they're just gonna be sticks in the ground and unattended till somebody happens to walk by and read them.
Then if you're allowing that, then you're going to have to allow the Democrats or Republicans or Libertarians, whoever, to have their signs up there for a month also.
But aren't we already in that position because we allow private organizations to hang bunting on the bridge? I mean, that's public space. It's not being hung by the public authority. It's being hung by a private organization, though it's a nonprofit and their flags.
We don't allow, in our sign ordinance, we don't allow that.
Well, we allow the JCs to hang the bunting on the bridge every year. It's never.
That's to promote their event, but not for advocating. Well, we don't look at the sign as you know as to what it is, but all that is doing is when they're having their event or preparing for the event, we let them put it up. But there's nothing in the ordinance. But the ordinance doesn't provide for it.
So can we kick this over to the Arts Commission and have it classified as a temporary art exhibit?
We'll be having a meeting.
That is kind of a.
We can put it on the agenda, but I would want to talk to Dale about that. I don't know how that works. I don't understand the regulations for temporary installations but it sounds like we're not at a point where we're willing to vote on this tonight.
Yeah.
Nobody knows exactly what we're doing, so maybe this is on hold for a little bit.
Yeah.
Normally, those kind of signs are the ones that like the village would put out to educate kids about nature or whatever. It's our signs.
Right.
Right.
You don't normally let other organizations put up signs and keep them in your parks.
Dale, could we change this that the school board was going to put the sign up as a part of their early education program to get around this?
They're still
No.
private.
Well, it's still a
They're not
separate
us.
organization, right?
But we could do it ourselves if we decided to do it, but it sounds like we don't have agreement on that
So
either.
The Friends of the Library gave it to the mayor, and the mayor decided to put them up as an administrative action.
Mhm.
And it's technically permissible because it's not free speech.
Right, if they donated these pages and the village decided on its own to put it up and to take it down whenever it wanted, then in my view, you wouldn't have that same issue.
I mean, I love the
But
amendment, but I also love books. This is
yeah.
hysterical.
it would have to serve a village purpose. But if it's
Sure.
educating people on, the masterpieces of literacy, and that's the
Preventing
village.
insanity in the parenthood.
Pick a good Geisel book and we'll put it up there. We can talk about healthcare then too.
I do like the store windows idea, which I know most
been
people
worked
have promoted, and that's something they
Well,
can pursue.
Thinking about that, perhaps Dale, would this pass muster they donated the signs to us. We put them out and we put a sign, for example, the last page of the book was in front of Fireside Bookstore in order to promote commerce in the village and shopping locally. Would that pass?
I don't think that improves our situation, and it could create
Your
an
favoritism.
argument.
Okay.
Right. Other merchants would say, put up books about textiles so that I can then promote my clothing store.
Or we could do that the next time we put one up.
Okay, I think we need to put a pin in this for 2 items on our legislative docket. We had a very long meeting. So why don't we, Angie and Nancy, can you guys connect with Dale since your arts and your parks? And maybe we can find some content neutral way to do
Sounds
this.
good.
I don't know. Since I'm clearly very biased, I will keep my nose out of it and let other people do that hashing out. Anything else for parks, Ms. Rogoff?
No.
Okay. Let me find my agenda again. Sorry. Planning and Zoning Commission, Ms. Rogoff.
Planning and zoning meets on next Monday, the 17th at 7 o'clock via Zoom.
Okay. Safety Committee, Mr. Rocky.
We met today to discuss the vicious dog ordinance. We have a couple of minute changes to make to the ordinance, and then we will hopefully be bringing it in front of council next meeting.
Perfect. Shade Tree Commission.
No report tonight.
Streets and Sidewalks.
Just tonight's legislation.
And then Mr. Newell is absent for utilities. Report of the Chief Administrative Officer.
I have no report tonight, Madam President.
Report of the engineer.
Just a quick update on East Washington Street construction. They're still working in the area of Ridgewood to Cleveland Street. And just today, because it was torn up so bad, they put some concrete in filling road patches between Ridgewood and the high school, just so that's a little more passable. A lot of the prep work has been done on the mainline sewer throughout the entire project, and the lining of the mainline sanitary sewer should take place next week.
Okay. Report of the police chief.
Just one quick thing. I wanted to introduce something that we're going to hopefully have online probably by the 1st of September. Lisa has been working to get it up and going, but it's called Frontline Public Safety Solutions. And what it is a basically it's it'll be a module on our webpage where people can go straight onto our website and enter their own vacation watches. It's got pet management, bike management, overnight parking requests, and then business key holders. So this is all stuff that we already do. Usually people call us and then these things get put in manually. This will allow people to go in and do it themselves. And then it also puts the information on the MDTs in our police cars so that the officer, if we have a missing dog or we find a bike on the road, if somebody has registered that, we could pull it up and we'll have a description of it. And then one other piece of it is a condition report. This would allow police officers to essentially get information to service quicker. So they could enter the problem. Let's say we need cones to block parking spots. It'll send an email automatically to whoever we have designated. So probably Mark Nelson or John. So it's going to be, I think there's a lot of, or several, I should say, communities around us that are using this and have given it good reviews. And it is something that dispatch will also have access to. So I think it'll be a good tool for community members to use to get, where they don't have to spend so much time on the phone with us, maybe.
Well, when you're ready to go live, we're happy to help push people and let people know about it any way we can.
Yeah, I'll give you an update at the next council meeting. Like I said, Lisa's working pretty hard to get it up and running now, and I didn't want to stress her by telling her, hey, I need it by tonight. So
that's fine.
But I would say by September we will definitely have it ready to go.
Yeah, I think that'd be a fantastic addition. Great job. Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Lock your cars. Okay.
Yeah.
Report of the fire chief.
Just one quick item, what I alluded to earlier, we're going to be sitting down soon to discuss two of the department's major PR events, the clam bake and the haunted fire station. So we're probably gonna have to make a difficult decision soon.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Do we have any members of the public who would like to address council? If so, you can use the raise your hand function on the Zoom, and Christy will be able to bring you in.
We're checking now. Andy Koning would like to speak. We'll allow her to talk.
Okay. Just as a reminder, we need you to state your name and address, first and last name for the minutes. And we have a 5-minute time limit. Mr. Koenig, welcome. Oh, I think you're on your way in. As soon as you arrive, you may speak.
Thank you for letting me participate. I wonder, this is Ann DeConing at 50 East Orange Street.
Thanks, Ann.
I wonder if we could go back to the parks items. For the Encore Chamber concert, the woman who spoke to us at Parks asked that this be on Friday evening, October 2nd.
Okay.
So I just wanted to add that.
Oh, it's not Sunday. Okay, it's Friday. Okay.
Right. The Bar 3 group would like to have Sundays in the morning, but I have to talk to that lady again. I know Nancy, you talked to her today and I sent her an email, but she was busy, so she couldn't respond to me. But I'm pretty sure Sunday morning was what she would want, and it would be the same format as Yoga by the Falls. And finally, on the story walk, I understand the concerns about signs in the park. I still have trouble thinking of this as a sign, but what would happen is the Friends of the Chagrin Falls Library would buy 3 copies of the same picture book. They dismantle 2 copies so that they can laminate those pages. They're mounted on foam core or a sign similar to campaign signs. And if you want to see how this looks, you can go to the Orange Library. They have one set up right now. It's about 14 pages. And I did go to look at it last week, and it's just kind of a fun kind of thing to do. And, you know, it's not really imposing on the park. And it would be for maybe a month or so per book. And it's going to take the Friends a while to put this all together. But I did walk around the property at the library today, and it's not very hospitable for this kind of thing. And I think parents with little children would not want to be up on Orange Street because the traffic there is just terrible right now. So it would be basically starting, I don't know if it would start right from the library building and go along the zigzag walk, or if it would start at the end of the zigzag walk and go into the park. But, you know, it wouldn't be more than 14 pages or so. So we have a library board meeting tomorrow afternoon at 4 o'clock, and I will relay to them your discussion tonight. But it would be nice if we could find some way to make this happen.
And story times are still canceled too, right, Ann?
Yeah. I mean, everything's canceled inside. You can go in and get a book, but
yeah.
I mean, our library meetings are by Zoom also.
Right.
No, I appreciate you joining us. Any questions for Ann, Mr. Koenig? Okay. Thank you for joining us tonight, Ann.
Thank you for letting me.
Any other members of the public to speak, to address council? I'm not seeing any hands. Are you, Christy? No. Okay.
No other members. No.
Okay. Any items from council for the miscellaneous?
I've got one little one, just to throw it out there. As the fire chief has already mentioned, we need to start thinking about trick or treat and how we are going to handle that. I mean, we don't have to have any discussion about it tonight. I just want to throw it out there and let people start thinking about it and listening to what other towns and villages are doing and how we think we're going to handle it, or what the recommendations that we're going to make are going to be. So I just wanted to throw that out there and remind people October's coming fast.
Trick or treat, you can wear a mask.
There's going to be a lot of doctors and nurses
Exactly.
this year.
My kids are going
hazmat teams. Exactly.
Right.
That's an administrative item, technically, I think, right? Right, Mayor? I think it's up to
I
you.
think the mayor decides. if you're
Silence.
going to-
That over to the mayor.
Yeah, I'm glad to just, Halloween's my favorite holiday. I'm glad to push that off on somebody else, so.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Anything else for miscellaneous? No. Okay, in that case, I will say that we are adjourned tonight at 8:14 p.m. Thank you guys so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Be
Thank you.
safe.
Good night.
Thank you.